Terrific. Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order, please. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Announcements. The Merrimack Town Council would like to offer our condolences to the family and friends of Stanley Benislawski Jr., who passed away on Thursday, May 25th, at the age of 78. Stanley was dedicated to the community and volunteered his time as a member of the Planning and Zoning Boards, as well as a member of the Budget Committee. His charm, quick wit, sense of humor, and smile are just a few things about Stanley that we will miss. Could I please have a moment of silence? Thank you. And thank you, Stan, for all of your hours for our community. Okay, the Town Council meets once a month in July and August. I know everyone's very sad about that. Wise guy. Obviously, if there's a need, we could have an additional meeting, but this is what's scheduled. Thursday, June 22nd at 7 p.m. here in the Matthew Thornton Room is a regular meeting. Also on Thursday, July 20th at 7 p.m., again here in the Matthew Thornton Room. And another regular meeting on Thursday, August 17th, 7 p.m. in the Matthew Thornton as usual. Okay. Okay, would you email me and remind me? Please. Okay, I'm going to read a letter that was received by me, and it was requested that I read it into the minutes of the meeting. Dear Ms. Harrington, it is not often that an opportunity comes along to recognize our town employees. The important services they do to keep our community safe is something I feel needs to be brought to the board's attention. Let me say that we have been residences of Merrimack for 32 years, of which 31 were spent across the street from Town Hall on Church Street. About a year ago, we were able to relocate to Island Drive to downsize from our Church Street property. Having spent the last part of the summer on Island Drive, we noticed that our property had some substantial water runoff from the roadway when it rained, causing a nice big rut along the roadway. This runoff continued on down the roadway side to the end of our driveway, leaving some nice-sized sand deposits. The water eventually finds its way to the pond at the end of our property, again leaving additional sand deposits in the yard area next to the driveway. The street sweeping operation after the winter sanding did a nice job of cleaning the roadway, but did not solve the sand deposit problem at the end of our driveway. Over the years we have lived in Merrimack, we have had numerous opportunities to be in contact with DPW, and Bruce Morrow was my go-to person. I know he is retired now, but he came through again for us on Island Drive, with providing some nice-sized stone to fill in the ruts caused by the runoff from the roadway. He provided some valuable follow-up information for Jeff Strong, the highway foreman inspector, and Laurie Barrett, the operations manager. When we spoke to Betsy, she reassured me that a work order was still active to address the runoff situation. We have met Betsy face-to-face, and it's always pleasant when we called for an update. She has been very receptive to our inquiries and is a very nice person to talk to. It wasn't long after we spoke with her, Laurie called to set a time to come to look at the situation we were talking about. It just so happened that May 5th, on Friday afternoon, it was raining. She and Jeff showed up to see firsthand what was going on with the roadway water runoff. Their attentions to our concerns and suggestions on how to fix the problem were reasonable and fair. Jeff had his crew come over on the Wednesday, May 10th, to fashion an asphalt berm at the end of the roadway to keep the water direction moving further down the street, so to help stop the sand buildup. This addition of the berm was greatly appreciated. Jeff called me later in the day to reassure me this was just a start to a more permanent fix. He suggested there were a couple of things he needed to look at first to finalize his thoughts. We would like to say that this berm was done very quickly after the initial meeting. They got right on it. Wow, great. Ms. Harrington, these folks, Bruce retired, Laurie, Jeff, Betsy, are truly great assets to the DPW that keeps our community moving safely through all of our seasons. I would like to thank them in the public forum and recognize them for their service as they continue to do this every day. If our letter could be read and be entered into the minutes of your meeting, it would be greatly appreciated. Thank you, Ms. Harrington, for your time and for the folks of DPW for their service to our community. Bill and Kat Behrens, B-E-H, what is it?
B-E-H-R-E-N-S.
R-E-N-S, 25 Island Drive.
Bill's a dynamite guy.
Thank you very much. It's a very nice letter, and I was pleased and happy to read it and put it in the minutes. Okay, now, any other announcements?
Yes. The Parks and Recreation Department is pleased to announce for the start of our 21st annual summer concert series at Abbey Griffin Park. Concerts will be held weekly on Wednesday evenings from 6 to 8 p.m. from June 21st to August 16th. Each week will feature a variety of musical styles that will appeal to all ages. For a complete listing of concerts, visit the website at www.merrimackparksandrec.org. The police department is urging the public to avoid Continental Boulevard and Camp Sargent Road in the area of Thornton's Ferry School this Sunday, June 11th, between the hours of 8 a.m. to 12 noon. The annual triathlon will be in progress and creating long delays for the motoring public. The police urge you to seek alternative routes during this time period. And we're also trying to put up some signs and that kind of thing for people to know more so that they'll be aware of it, but they probably won't pay attention.
They've done a Nixle thing, too. That's it? Excellent. Okay, there is no PFOA update. Comments from the press or public? No rushing. Okay. No recognition, resignations, or retirements. Okay, appointments. Annual review with the Agricultural Commission. Per Town of Merrimack Charter, Section 6-6, at least annually, there should be an annual review with the Agricultural Commission. This agenda item is to highlight the Commission's significant actions, current projects, anticipated actions, and to raise any concerns the Council should know or could act upon. And we have Chairman Bob McCabe, and I'm sorry I forgot your name.
Ron Miner.
Of course.
Good evening, Madam Chair. Thank you for having us, members of the council. We're here tonight for our annual review, 2016 to 17. As you all know, it's been a busy year. Ron's going to start, and we're going to stop periodically for questions or concerns.
All right, so he gave the word to work to you, huh?
Oh, yeah.
He's designating. That's fine.
Okay. The start of the 2017 represents 10 years of the Merrimack Agriculture Commission. Yep, it's on. Each new year is as busy as the last. We were all saddened by the loss of Eber Courier. He was a man of vision and a great farmer who believed in the promotion of agriculture. Currently, we have 5 full-time members and 1 alternate. Each member has experiences in many phases of agriculture, including beef and dairy production, sheep farming, bird and wildlife control, arboriculture, nursery stock, and vegetable and fruit production. Our members are currently and continually improving skills by taking continuing education classes from the UNH instructors and the UNH extension training classes. Currently, our membership holds supervisory pesticide license and a commercial vegetable license. Earlier this year, we completed advanced training to teach pesticide safety to employees at the farm. This is also known as Worker Protection Standard. Safety training is on the farm and at other agricultural sites as trainings are needed.
Thank you, Ron.
Yep.
Our community garden at Wasserman Park is celebrating its 10th opening. We first rototilled the garden on this past Good Friday. The rain kept raining, and between the rain showers, the garden was rototilled a second time. Ron Miner and I staked out the boundaries and sectioned off the garden plots to open the garden by the 20th of May of this year. We have already sold half of the plots available, which is approximately 45 to 50 plots. We have more, especially for Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, 4-H'ers, and other local nonprofits who would like to grow fresh local vegetables, as well as residents and non-residents as the plots are available. Already the deer, the wild turkeys, and many woodchucks are hovering over the garden. It's funny because last year we didn't have this problem as acutely as we do this year, but this year it seems like the rodents are back, and we'll see how the gardeners deal with it. Realizing always that the community garden is only a tenant of Wasserman Park, the Commission hopes to find a permanent site for the community garden. The Winter Farmers Market, in its second year at the O'Leary Center, has a growing variety of vendors supporting farms in the other season throughout the year. We are looking to expand the winter market. It is an ideal location. However, more signage is needed to advertise the site and pull customers off the main road so they can come in and browse in the vendors area. The Summer Farmers Market begins June 14th, next week, with several new vendors and new products. Every year the list and the variety of vendors change. Many thanks to the Morgan family for encouraging the market and allowing us to use their site. Our vendors always ask for more customer participation, and with the use of more visible temporary signage, we hope to increase the market's customer base. At our monthly meetings, we continuously update the community on agricultural classes, UNH continuing education, and seasonal bug alerts. We speak of agricultural news, history, and equine education. We can offer farms and farmers a link to NRCS, which is the Natural Resources Conservation Service, which is available through the Department of Ag, who has an office in Milford, for farm reconstruction, damage control, forestry concerns, that type of thing. The Agriculture Commission continues to donate to the New Boston 4-H Fair each year. We offer financial assistance to 4-H'ers and 4-H clubs in Merrimack and throughout the county. We offer assistance to agricultural or environmental science majors in high school or college to further their studies. The Merrimack Agriculture Commission continues to educate, support, and encourage the advance of agriculture in Merrimack, Hillsborough County, and throughout the state of New Hampshire. That's pretty much what we've been doing the last year. We have a couple of questions to air with the council, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
When we speak of visible temporary signage, the vendors always want more participation, as the summer market as well as the winter market. We asked the council to consider us to allow to purchase a temporary signboard to make the markets more visible, i.e. the summer market would have it placed at vault storage for the Wednesday day only, hours, morning and hours of the market, which is 18 Wednesdays. And then in the winter, for the winter market or the off season, we asked to use the signboard at the O'Leary Center to really stimulate that winter market and bring some customer participation in. We have the funds. We'd like to buy a used signboard. We've gone to community development already. We've sat with planning board. We'd like some feedback from the council and thoughts.
Bill?
Bob, the only concern that I would have is knowing at the vault, having both, I think Council Koenig and I have sat for a couple of petitions regarding the vault. You might want to work closely with Tim regarding the ability to have temporary signage there. Unless you've already asked them that particular question, then I guess that, let me ask the question then.
We've run the percentages, and it does work. It does work, and I have permission from the Morgan family.
Permission from the Morgans doesn't concern me. Would you be in violation of the spirit of the, of what the planning board passed as it relates to site review? That would be the,
No, we went to community development first and asked the right questions.
Okay.
I wrote a letter to the planning board. I sat with planning board Tuesday night. They voted for us.
oh, okay.
Maybe the notes are not out yet. We're not here to cause trouble. We're here to enhance the market.
And I agree with you.
He did come before the planning board
Thank you.
Tuesday, and we had quite a lengthy discussion about it. One of the things that had to be asked was whether or not the planning board felt that a public hearing needed to be held
Okay.
for a government organization to do something like that, because we really don't have jurisdiction over them. But given that he is only intending to put the sign out on Wednesdays during the day or during the market, a little before, starting in the morning at 10 o'clock or something like that, I felt, and I think the whole planning board felt, that would be sufficient. It's, 18 Wednesdays?
Correct.
Through the summer. They put out signboards now. This would just be a little bit bigger, maybe a lit sign or
Right.
something like that. I don't think it would be obnoxious. It's not going to change. There's going to be a single message on it. It's not flashing or any of that kind of stuff, which are all against our policies.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have an issue with it. I just,
Yep.
wanted to make sure that the right people were spoken to.
Well,
so.
and he did a good job
I agree.
of going through and finding out what needed to be done.
Okay, good deal.
Dan?
My first reaction is I thought we bought a couple more for voting and everything, so I'm thinking, why spend your money? I think the town owns some, and if it's only one day a week, I don't know why it can't be borrowed for one day a week.
But, okay.
It's a town event.
One of those electronic signs you're talking about.
Right.
We know there's 2 or 3 more in the system. Over the last couple of years with the bridge work, they were used 100% of the time. The winter market has asked for it periodically. We couldn't get any delivery. And timing is kind of the problem. If we shut down at 6 o'clock, where are we going to bring this thing back to a locked facility?
No,
Highway's locked.
my idea would be it's a town function, it's a town event. The highway department would be responsible for delivering and picking it up.
Absolutely.
Drop it off Wednesday morning, pick it up Thursday morning.
We don't want to impact highway any more than they need to be, and we have the money, but...
One man's thoughts, that's all. I throw it out there. If you came here to get what we thought about the idea, and that's what I think. I mean, for you to spend $3,000, I'm guessing, on what you potentially could be paying for a sign that you're only going to use once a week for 18 weeks,
52
to me, and
weeks.
maybe I'm just a little cheap guy, I guess.
It'll be 52 weeks with the winter market too, or 50 weeks total. And then at some point, if we have enough customer participation, we could feed it back to highway or landfill or whoever needs it for the next time.
How much is the used one that you're looking at?
I was at a State of Vermont auction Mother's Day. Could have bought one for $250.
Oh, go ahead. Just withdraw everything.
But
I
I
said.
didn't, I have to go through the right channels, and I want to ask the right way.
Motion to adjourn?
Paul, did you want to say something? No. I know, you mentioned, I do remember one sign being out there, it did say the farmer's market. But it was already out there for another reason. I think it was during the election times. And then after that was done, it stayed there, but it had the farmer's market at the O'Leary Center on it. But it's not now. But it was only during that time. So
Don Miner is in charge of the winter
By
market. I'm
Watson
not there,
Park.
so.
there was an electronic sign that talked about, does anyone else remember seeing it?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Eileen?
Yes, it was up. I was asked by Don Miner to put it up and did so immediately. The other thing I just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware of is that Bob is right. We do only have 2 electronic signboards, and we have an awful lot of reconstruction of roads to be done this year,
Should we have
so
to
that
commit?
they really won't be available.
Jackie?
I was thinking about the John O'Leary Center. And I went to one of the markets this winter with the Town Center Committee stuff. And I think it has the same problem that Abbey Griffin Park has, that everybody can see it and everybody can see the senior center, but people don't know how to get around to it. And I think it's going to be, require a little bit of thought about where you're going to put the sign in a place where it won't offend anybody. You've already thought about this, I think, but it seems to me that you'll need two. I know. Two.
In terms of direction? for
Yes,
entrance?
yes, yeah. Because there were very few people who came. And it's a terrific idea. It presents itself well. You have good vendors. Best liverwurst I ever had. But they have to come in from DW and then take a turn
Turn
on
around. Church.
Hmm?
People who live in town know it, but not if you're not.
Right.
The chairman of the planning board had a good idea yesterday. After 3 o'clock, when town hall parking lot thins out, if we could place it like on the edge of, beginning of Boosick Lake Road on your parking lot, town hall parking lot, and point it toward the church, that would be the most visible spot without detracting DW highway traffic. That's what the chairman
Which would
thought.
solve what you're talking about.
So it's one option. We don't want to buy two, no offense. One would be enough. I'm sure there's maintenance involved. And I know there's going to be an issue with the registration and the insurance and all that. And Paul and I have had this discussion months ago about this. And I don't know if we've come together with that yet, how to figure that out. And I'd like some feedback from that as to how we're going to. What do I do? Are we going to register it, Paul, or what are we going to do?
I'd like to hear Paul's concerns so that we understand the
Go ahead,
context.
Paul.
Yeah, Bob and I have talked about this, and I do have concerns. One is insurance on the sign. Two is registering it. It's a Town of Merrimack sign. It's registered underneath the G plate. Who's going to be hauling it back and forth? Where is it going to be stored when it's not being used? Who has to do the maintenance on these signs? Because if he's buying it for $250, even if it's the best sign in the world, it's being
gonna need
used.
maintenance.
It's being used.
Mhm.
I went to some auctions when we were looking at the signs, $8,000 for a recertified used sign. That's what they want for those electronic message boards,
That
recertified.
sounds familiar, because I remember talking about it.
Right.
Might
You know,
be shocked.
those were all kind of my concerns with it. Understood that in the wintertime, our signs are not being used as much as in the summertime. The Summers Farmers Market is a lot more visible to the traffic going up and down DW Highway in that section of town. They're not pulling anybody that's taking a left to go up the Boosick Lake Road. It's the ones coming from the Bedford area down that it's visible to. And as Eileen said, we do have a lot of construction going on all summer long. With our use of our two signs will be used all summer long. So we can get them there when we can get them there, so to speak. But we're going to hear later from Dawn, and the two signs will be used for a 2-week period right there, and they'll be stationed probably for about a month on Amherst Road.
So I think it's understood we can't rely on.
We can't rely on the town signs, but those are my concerns, is, who, if we register in the town, who's hauling it back and forth? Do they have the proper hitches, proper equipment to haul the signs back and forth? Things of that sort.
Dan?
The easy solution seems to be not to have an electronic one, just have a really big
That's what I
A-frame
was
one that you
wondering. That's
fold
what I
up,
was
so in the
wondering.
back of a pickup truck, and your team would have to be responsible for placing it and picking it up. But the electronic, I don't see what Paul's concerns, I'd have to agree. You're stuck in a litigious situation with trailering an electronic sign. And you're gonna have to go through all those hoops. I may not like it, but that's the reality.
Well, Don and I each have a spindle hitch in our trucks. We can get it from A to B. The problem would be insurance, because a non-municipal employee is going to haul it.
Right.
That's true.
Right.
The A-frame sign, we've tried that. We're going to set it up that way Wednesday, as a matter of fact, and we just don't get the traffic we need to get. We're trying to stimulate agriculture for these small farmers, and
Oh, I applaud your trying. I just, but electronic versus billboard, I don't think it automatically equals greater success. The signs are the signs. For someone who's put on organization things for 20 years, advertising, newspaper, signs, so I know what I'm talking about. It's just the way it is. I applaud the effort, but I'm not convinced that the electronic sign is going to automatically mean someone's going to now go because they missed the billboard sign instead. But it's worth trying, but under the circumstances of the hurdles, I don't know how you overcome it. I'm done.
Finley, and then Bill.
Actually, it just reminds me, we do have a policy that I don't think has ever been taken back that allows for the public to use our equipment. And so this would fit the same way. I think that the policy is bad and should be gotten rid of, but I don't think it ever was. And so I don't know how that comes into the whole equation.
I believe it's still.
You remember the policy? Yeah. I mean, if you wanted to use, if you had qualifications to use our biggest piece of heavy
And
equipment,
demonstrating
and
that.
you had the qualifications to do it, you could use it for a town
Yeah.
project.
Well, if legally we're not liable for anything because of a policy or ordinance that you,
I think we are, that's why,
oh,
yeah, no, and that's my point, so that
Oh,
could, with this,
okay.
if that's a legitimate policy, then this would be covered, but I don't know that it is.
Well, paint a scenario for me. So a town resident can use our town equipment.
When they built the dog park, if somebody of the group advocating for the park did that for a living, that was their job, is going to work and driving somebody's bulldozer, they could go and use our town equipment by our policy.
Okay.
Um,
And so now they come and take their sign, come and go, and there's a car accident.
I don't think it's a good idea,
Normal-
not this,
normal
but the
car auto
policy in
insurance.
general is bad.
Would-
We kind of stopped with that because we lent out a couple pieces of equipment and
did.
they both came back. One came back with a dented tailgate. Another one came back with the tow hitch ripped off. And they were qualified to drive our dump truck. So we stopped that policy right away with that. And
Okay.
unless somebody really pushes it,
I-
it's still in
Might
effect.
I suggest you bring it up and have it rescinded?
Yes, we will.
I'd rather, if we're not going to use a policy, let's get rid of it. Because someone could push, you've got a policy, you have to let me do it. So I would recommend you bringing it back as a action we should do. Bill?
What's to stop Mr. McCabe from purchasing this electronic sign himself and assuming responsibility?
Nothing, it's on his dime though.
That's right.
He's not using farmer's
underst-
market though.
I understand that. I mean, will we still, if that was a course of action, and I'm not suggesting that I would encourage him to do that, I'm just suggesting that if Mr. McCabe were to pursue that course of action, would we still be able to provide the accommodation of allowing him to put his sign on town property regarding the winter's market? Like, would we,
I wouldn't, personally, I wouldn't think would be an issue.
okay. The only, well, if.
We would give permission to have him park it in the parking lot.
The other question is there anything that prohibits somebody driving a non-G plated vehicle towing something that has a G plate?
Say that again.
G plates are government plates.
Right,
He
yeah.
wouldn't have a
but-
government plate.
Excuse me?
He wouldn't have a government plate.
The trailer would. If we were to register it, it would have a G plate.
Okay, gotcha.
So let's suppose Mr. McCabe shows up with his Ford F-150 or whatever he drives with the hitch. It's going to be a regular New Hampshire
I get you.
license plate. So, again, the question, are there any rules governing a non-G New Hampshire plate towing a trailer that has a G plate? And I'll defer to my colleague on the left who probably knows the answer.
No, there are no rules regarding that. As long as the trailer is registered, legally registered, that's the only concern.
Okay. And then conceivably, if the truck is legally registered and he's towing that, and I'm not good with insurance, so I wish.
The insurance would be my question.
Would the property insurance on his truck cover any, and Paul shaking his head no.
If he's towing it and it comes off his hitch and hits the ground and goes into a car because it's registered to the town of Merrimack, probably Bob would get sued and we'd get sued because of the deep pockets and we'd be liable because that is our vehicle.
Okay,
Yeah, that makes
okay.
sense. Jackie?
Through Bill.
I'm never through, Jackie, but you can go ahead.
I think I'm missing something. But the only thing that attracts me going by, like Watson Park, and I see that sign out there, which it sometimes is the type of sign. It isn't the lights, it's daylight. Every time that the farmer's market is in session, it's daylight. So I think it's the type of a sign, that if you get a nice, just a big sign, big plastic sign, I think it would attract as much attention. I don't know.
Not a lot of words.
Hmm?
There's a lot of signs that are too cluttered.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
You don't have
well,
time
it
to
has
read
to be,
it.
of course,
So
it
you
has
make
to read.
as simple as possible.
Oh, sure, as simple as possible, but I'm talking about lights versus
I understand.
non-light. It seems like the lighting part of it is causing all the difficulty here.
The summer market, we have light. The winter market, we do not.
Right.
Time changes.
Right.
And we have twilight at 4 o'clock, 4:15.
Yeah, but it, I certainly don't want to get argumentative, but it is light until 4:15 or 4:30, and it starts at 3.
Pete?
Bob, I guess I'd appreciate if, did you guys bring a picture of this sign or anything we could see?
We gave it to planning board Tuesday. We gave all that stuff to planning board. There's a whole folder of it. I didn't bring it today. No, it's a normal sign, standing sign, solar array, orange. In fact, planning board asked us if we ever bought one, if we do buy one, to paint it a non-orange color and camouflage with corn stalks and pumpkins and chrysanthemums and blend it in.
That's fun.
I guess, I want to say this. This is a town function, the farmers markets. We're doing the best we can. We'd like to do a little better. We'd like some encouragement. We'd like some help here. We have the money to buy a used sign. There's no doubt about that. Because we've been drawing dues from the vendors for these last 7, 8, 9 years. And we want to give something back to the vendors. We can't afford advertising to any great degree. It's too pricey. It doesn't reward us. We do a little bit of Facebook. My market aide is a Facebook person, and when she gets online next week, she can advertise that way. But we need a sign of size and substance to catch the eye of the people driving down the road and snap them out of that drive home and, oh yeah, the farmer's market's here today. Why don't I take a left to get some fresh veggies or a meal to take home or something? And that's all we're trying to do. We're not trying to screw up the insurance, screw up the registration, any of that stuff.
I might have a solution for the summer. We can try it for a couple weeks. Dave Yakuboff donated a sign to the town of Merrimack. It's one of those kind of billboards with the arrow on top that you put letters in. We can have, it's over at Highway it's at Fire right now, I believe. If it's still workable, we can try that, put that out for a couple weeks and see if that solves the problem.
You want to come take a look at that, Bob?
Where is it, Paul?
It's at the fire station,
Reed's
Number
Ferry.
1, number 2?
over
where?
there, right at Central Station.
Okay.
And it's been out in front, you know what I'm talking about. It used to be out in front of the police station before you got your sign.
Is it on wheels?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know any of that. Probably not.
Pete, go ahead.
Bob, I think what you guys have in the farmer's market is great, and I certainly don't want to impede you or make your job any harder. And I admire you guys are trying to think of different ways.
Right.
But Paul makes some good sense about the towing of it, the liability of it, and my experience in seeing the electronic signs and the maintenance of it, and when something breaks down on them, the cost of them. We're going in the right direction, thinking about it. Is there just maybe some other avenue to take, a couple of other types of signs to look at too, like Paul mentioned, but other signs? I know that when I've come up Route 3, the sign isn't until it's right at the Morgan's storage, the vault, and maybe it's buying some smaller signs and putting them up a quarter mile
Right.
or a couple hundred yards and prior to the event on each direction.
We have a permanent sign hanging under the vault storage sign, right? Well, it'll be next week, it'll be put up for the farmer's market. We also, on Wednesday mornings, put up 2 2x4 signs in the grass medium strip. For the last 3 years, we don't see any difference, appreciable difference anyway. We're kind of like asking for help here, and I thought I was doing it the right way.
I think.
You are doing it the right way.
I don't, you're sounding discouraged, and we don't mean to discourage
No,
you.
we're just trying to get to yes.
I think we're probably trying to, taking into consideration the issues that we have, what are alternatives we can think of to help you. I think the sign on Watson Park, if that sign that's in the fire department could be put there, I totally agree with Peter. I think part of it is, I don't think about it. I need something outside the vault to remind me. If I'm near the vault or going by it, oh yeah, I'll think of it. But I need something outside that I can go out of my way to get to it. And a sign a little bit before it doesn't help me. Having a sign near Watson Park for all those people going by, and north, and God knows where, but like further north, coming south, that you would think of before you hit the vault. Because once you are reminded, I'll remember to look at the sign at the vault. It's before that. So I concur with Peter. And I'm just thinking that some reasonably I'm not an advertising person, but I think a large, not wordy, maybe a logo that people can get used to. This is a farmer's market logo. It's worth thinking about, that's all. Paul?
Well,
Eileen and I were just discussing, we have a couple properties that are south of the vault. One is the MYA, right before
Bingo.
Wire Road.
Bingo.
Another one is
Before Wire.
is right before the post office. We own that
Right.
property too. So those are two areas before the
And
vault.
here,
And
in the
then,
library, yeah.
so you can get some, in the wintertime, you flip it around and it says Winter Farm and Market, O'Leary Center, if you put it on the sign, over there by the MYA. And then in the summer, you flip it the other way and say Winter's Farmers Market, Vault. So
worth
there are
thinking,
things we
that's
can
all.
do. We could put that, the sign pretty much to see, check it out down at Fire, and even talk to the MYA and see about their sign.
Bingo. Jackie?
You know, it just occurred to me, in places like New Jersey or Delaware, where there are a lot of farm stands in the summer, it's typical to see, this hand, I know, like spray painted, but it's 100 yards to, McCluskey's farm stand, and I think people always look for the farm stand after they go by that, or ice cream, or, whatever, then they have it way ahead. And so many yards or feet.
By having one sign, I think you're limiting yourself.
we have 3 now, and they're not working. We need something bigger.
Where are they placed? Well,
One's
bigger.
a sheet of 4x8 sheet of plywood underneath the vault sign, Farmers Market Wednesday.
Okay, but you're there. That's
Hanging
you're not
there.
reminding me.
Right at vault.
Right.
The other 2, I've set vertical pipes in the ground in a grass
Right.
medium strip, one on the south, near the south entrance, one near the north entrance of vault, 2x4 sheets of
Too
plywood.
late. That's all I'm saying.
When I first went to community development, they showed me a book of rules an inch thick. 200 feet, not 200 feet or more from an intersection, near no stoplights, near this, near that. I
So
started
you were
there.
working within there.
I
Okay.
tried to do
I
it all
getcha.
with them.
I get you.
And then I went, Tom knows.
What do you
I was-
think? What do you think, Tom? I mean, in terms of planning board, are we having bad, unreasonable thoughts when we're talking like this? People from planning board people? In terms of signs and,
No, I don't think so. I mean,
Okay.
the planning board.
I don't want to steer you wrong is my point.
No. I think the planning board just decided that it wasn't something they felt needed a public hearing on.
Right, okay.
They appreciated hearing about it, offered similar kinds of suggestions of what they
Okay.
thought might help for marketing. So I'm not sure
Okay.
if Bob's going around looking for marketing input from everybody, but he's
But he's
getting it
getting it
anyway.
anyway.
I don't think they would be disturbed one way or the other.
Okay.
The other problem is Wednesday morning, I'm the only one setting up. if, I'll look at Paul's sign, the fire department, if it's not on wheels, I can't do it alone. We have limited labor.
Yeah.
You know. But I'd be willing to look at it anyway and see.
I think those are, you asked for some thoughts, and I think you got some. I'm not sure if there are other suggestions. I mean, I honestly, just speaking for myself, the signs there are great, but if I'm going there, I don't need a reminder sign. I need something outside of the area that reminds me to continue to go straight and not left.
What
That's
if we
all.
left it at Vault for 18 weeks? Charlie would find me a place to put it and never move off site.
What good would it do if it's on site, though? It doesn't help your,
It would be taken off the main highway, off the edge of the highway, and retired for the rest of the week. And we'd put it up again Wednesday morning. I'm asking for a bigger sign.
but where would you put it when you pull it out?
North entrance, 50 feet off the
Put it
driveway,
right on the site again.
right?
And you may not agree that's a good idea, but I have no problem with allowing
Right.
you to try whatever you want to
I
try.
know that's
Yeah.
part of,
Personally,
I
I
know.
mean, might not be a good idea, but it's
but it's
something
worth
to
a
try.
shot. Yeah.
As long as it's not distracting to drivers to the point of causing accidents.
It's not a blinky sign, it's a
No, I
solid sign.
I get it.
We talked about that.
Yep.
Does anybody have, go ahead, Dan.
I just have to say, I can hear your sadness or your depression about your dilemma, and I don't mean to throw cold water on it, but I don't believe any more signage or any more fancy or lighted signs are going to help your cause. Sometimes you just have to accept the participation. It is what it is, and I know you're trying to make it grow, and you've been trying to make it grow for several years, but I just don't see any more signs or any more attention for people who naturally want to go. They're seeking it out. And I maybe you just have to accept the crowd number that you have is what it is, the crowd number what it will be.
Does he need approval to purchase something like that? I mean, logistically, yes.
I believe we are in the process of trying to put together a policy for this particular thing, because this is something the Agricultural Committee and their dollars that they are accumulating are getting larger and larger. So some of their purchases are larger, and so we're going to try and put a policy together and of approvals and that kind of thing, since it is going through the town's books.
We have
What's
other
the line?
accounts that are similar to that, right?
What's that?
I didn't hear that.
We have other accounts that are similar to that, right?
Yes, but everything runs through the town's books, and they follow the town's finance purchasing policies and the town
And why
manager's
wouldn't
approvals.
this? Why wouldn't this be under the same?
It
It isn't, or,
It-
I guess I'm asking the question.
It is, but the question is, we need to have a set of what are appropriate expenditures that should come out of this account, not just, and I'm not suggesting that they're
Right.
mishandling their money or anything like that, but
But it's their money.
it isn't their money. If it's going through the town's books,
No, but it isn't going through the books right now.
it sure
It
is.
is.
I have it. I have
And
it.
what's the balance?
Over $10,000.
8,000.
Was it 8 or 10?
Total
I'd
was
say
10
close
for agriculture, or total was 10?
Total is 10.
Between the farmer's market and the community gardens, over
We have three
$10,000.
accounts.
Oh, if you take both.
Winter, summer, and community garden. Listen, we want agriculture to keep going. They need help. And if your guys are gonna limit us to what we can donate, we all have to sit down and have a really good talk about this. Because you're starting to scare the whole Ag Commission. The purpose was to advance agriculture, not to feed everybody else in town. And I hate to be. No, I'm just saying, the purpose of the Agriculture Commission was to advance agriculture in the town.
Correct.
Why would you guys question what we're doing with that? Policy, Eileen. Please
Yeah.
help me.
We question every expenditure. I have to sign off, as I said to you,
Right.
that I personally, with my own name, need to
Mhm.
sign off on each expenditure. So that's why I wanted to put a policy together.
I guess the question would be, did we do this for the Business Expo, when the Business Expo was being funded? Do we do this for the Conservation Commission that has a particular account? Do we have policies in place for them?
Exactly.
The Business Expo followed the purchasing guidelines for the town of Merrimack. Dave McRae would come in and say, I am buying this, 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 and this, and this, and this, and this is how it relates to the Business Expo or Merrimack Rocks. Conservation Commission, we brought them back on. They used to be willy-nilly. We brought them on, and they follow the townwide purchasing policy now. And everything goes through finance, gets signed off. This is nothing new that anybody
That's
else.
fine. So, Conservation Commission to me
Sounds
means more
consistent.
than the Merrimack Business Expo, because it's a volunteer commission like the Agricultural Commission. So therefore, the Ag Commission needs to play by the same rules as the Concom. I have no quibble about that. I just wanted clarity on how we were handling other commissions that had bank accounts.
Jackie?
The way I see it is that some of these groups, MYA, Senior Center, Agricultural Commission, various ad hoc ones like the Expo and so forth, these people are, and I don't want to be sappy or hostile, but these are volunteers who have decided to take something valuable on for the town. Not particularly for each other. They really want to do this one thing for the citizens of the town. It's kind of like the Parks and Recreation Committee, that we happen to have a paid head of that, and he takes charge of certain things that we would rather not do ourselves. And the same with the Agricultural Commission. They're nice enough to have a market where we can buy fresh vegetables. I think that's fabulous. If it helps a farmer, that's all the better. So I see it as a similar kind of a thing. Now, whether you could benefit too from being part of the, have your account at Watson Park, we did. I have some experience with that, and the town took all the money and you held it.
But you used it for the park.
And we used it for the park, but, and I don't remember exactly what we vote for, like a sign expenditure or something like that, and then take it in to Paul, and
Right.
I don't recall any controversy over things.
You
But
used to
there's a
bring-
way to do it
Right.
without interfering or stepping on your toes, just for your benefit.
Yes, Pete?
Bob, is there a chance that the person that wants to sell this would loan it to you, and you set it up at the vault and see if it makes a difference to your farmer's market? Give it a
Well,
test run?
We've looked on Craigslist for one, but I'm looking at auctions for the lowest price, and that's my best experience. I don't have one. I don't have one in mind right now. I see the auctions coming. Maybe by the end of summer, I might bump into one at the right price. Maybe not. I don't know. But I'm here to ask for permission. But I hear other things going on here that I'm not aware of at all.
Like
And I
what?
think we all need clarity.
Like what, Bob?
Oh, yeah.
Well, like the funding problem. We donate a lot to 4-H. And now it sounds like new rules are going to be made. Is there a problem with giving the 4-H or the farmers
For scholarship money.
scholarship money? I mean,
Is it a vote, the Agricultural Commission votes on?
yeah, we vote on it,
one?
we have our minutes, it's all above
I
board.
wouldn't see. Yes?
This is, there's no reason why we couldn't put a policy together that we could all agree on. So, there'll just be broad definitions and that kind of thing, and nobody's trying to wreck your day or diss your farmer's market, because we think it's wonderful. So we just need Paul and I are both kind of anal about finances, and we just.
Supposed to be.
Right, so I don't see why we couldn't, in one short meeting, just have a discussion about it and put something down that we could all agree to.
So is this a policy that goes through all the commissions? Same policy?
If it should, if it doesn't, it should. The school district had fundraising going on through all kinds of volunteer organizations. And it was about a dozen years ago, I dug a little bit into it, and it wasn't 10 or 20 or 30,000 like I thought. It was like $400,000 floating around in all these different organizations with no accountability. And most everybody's sincere and honest and working hard for the same purpose. But it doesn't always happen that way. So we should have it for every group that is part of the town process.
That's right. Has
If
many,
they're raising funds and it's going through the town, they should go through the whole process.
That's the rub. They're raising funds. That's the key component, because you can't impose this policy on the planning board and the ZBA because they're quasi judicial authorities.
no,
They-
we've already
They're not spending money.
identified.
I understand that.
No.
What Finley is saying, I'm clarifying that it's just on the committees that raise funds. You can't just have a blanket policy that covers everybody where,
Like we said, like with the Watson Park, when they had that with the dogs. That
Friend-
was
the friend-
criteria
the
that
Friends
you
of the
had to
Dog-
meet,
the
right?
Friends of the Dog Park. You know, it's the same idea.
So same one. Okay. So as long as it's consistent, it sounds like it is. I guess that's, Bob, that's what you need to understand. That this is not being isolated for your particular thing. This is the application of a policy and a procedure that other similar groups have to respond to. It's not isolated.
We give money to the New Boston 4-H Fair every year. We give scholarship to more than one 4-H or one environmental studies major.
Then you should put that into the sit down, put that, that's what we want.
We just, all this was just outlined again, just to be clearer.
I don't think that's unreasonable.
Thank you. Thank you.
I don't think
One
Paul and
has to-
Eileen thinks that's unreasonable
It
either,
just,
though.
it obviously has to follow procedure, it has to be voted upon by the member of the Agricultural Commission. It has to be sent to a representative of that whatever scholarship. Oftentimes, I would recommend not giving it to the person, you send it to the bursar of the school.
Well, that's fine, too.
But
I have no
but
problem with
again,
that.
that's a financial intricacy that should be put into the policy, that's all. I don't think there's anything wrong. Because if you give it to the kid, he'll spend it on something else and not necessarily school. If you send it to the bursar, you know it's for the school. That's all.
How do you feel about agricultural textbooks, freshman year? I mean, is that part of the policy? Just to talk about it for a second. Merrimack student, going to high school, go to tech school?
If they go into the VOTEC programs or,
Sure.
you know,
UVM for environmental studies?
even after, like,
I don't
college.
say, that's academic.
Mhm.
Yeah, you can
But
divide
she's
it up
saying
to
To the
tuition.
school, not to the,
Right.
she was saying, like,
They get
Give it to the
accredited
bookstore.
school.
if it went to the school, you know?
I mean, again, that's not that you have to do, I'm just saying, but I don't think that's debatable, personally.
That's a conversation, if Eileen and Paul,
That's
which
right.
they've already said that they're willing to craft a policy that's
That's
broad in
right.
scope, that allows the Ag Commission the flexibility to make decisions in concert with Eileen and Paul so that they can understand what's being funded. I don't see how it's a problem.
Right.
Why would we not want to cut a check that wants to learn how to, run a farm or raise cows?
Yeah.
Why would we deny that? Why would we do that? Makes no sense.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah.
I'll look at Paul's sign. If it doesn't work, can we come back in the future?
I have no problem with that.
Yeah, you can always come back, is absolutely right, but any other thoughts before we?
Well, it should be an agenda item specific, because like tonight,
Absolutely.
it really went over
Right.
and above. We really
Right.
couldn't have offered any fair comment, or at least I
We weren't
couldn't,
prepared.
because I didn't know what we might be running through.
Right.
Say the sign that you recommended, that from Dave Yakuboff, you're saying, even if it is on wheels, we have to have somebody else from the town haul it to wherever it's gonna go, or,
Which we're happy to do.
right, okay. Just because the liability of somebody
Right,
from
no,
us.
I
Right,
get,
okay.
I get that. and
Oh,
that's
I'm
something
just
that we would
I'm just
have to-
asking, yes,
right, no,
okay.
Right,
And
and we
you
would
know
have
what?
to talk to our department.
Okay.
Eileen would actually have to talk to the department, it's her department, and say, I want this sign delivered on Wednesday and taken back on Thursday.
Okay, thank
And
you.
it's always more helpful when we have specific things, like, here's an example of what I'm talking about.
Right.
I mean, I have no idea, you're talking about a sign for $350, and it could be $6,000. I mean, we're having
I
We have
wouldn't
no
spend
idea.
6,000.
That's,
But-
do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't think
And
the signs
as
were
Finley
finished.
said, this was
Finley.
certainly not on the agenda. We're happy to talk about it, and respond to it, but we're not
The
prepared.
agenda item did say, how can we
Any
help them?
concerns?
And so
Yeah.
we can discuss those. Excuse me, we can't necessarily make a decision, a formal decision to spend money or anything, because it wasn't an agenda item, but we can certainly discuss how to help
Right.
them.
Right. And I'm not sure if what we said helped you.
Well, thank you all.
But
for
you
your
heard
time.
our thoughts anyway.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for having
Okay,
us.
thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Have a good night.
Have a nice weekend, too.
Okay, public hearing. Donation acceptance for the Abbey Griffin Park entrance stairway installation project, continued from April 27th, 2017 Town Council meeting. And gentlemen, you want to come down? Submitted by Town Center Committee members Nelson Disco and Peter Flood. Town Council will hold a public hearing to consider the acceptance of a donation of the Abbey Griffin Parkway entrance stairway project from the Rotary Club of Merrimack, valued in the amount of approximately $6,800 pursuant to RSA 31:95-E and Charter Article 8-15. Just a real quick summary, and then I'll open the public hearing.
I'd appreciate it if the town accepted the gift from the Rotary Club of Merrimack. And I'd like to add one thing for the public record concerning the emplacement or the construction of the steps. Rob Lavoie of All Outdoors Landscaping. It's all outdoors landscaping and excavation. So he has some special equipment, and he has volunteered to work together with Sean O'Keefe, and the two of them will work hand in glove together. And they've decided that for them, as businessmen, they would like to wait until August, and sometime perhaps in the last half of August, to get together to do the work to establish the stairs. So we wanted to just put it on the record that Rob Lavoie is also a volunteer, and that, together with Sean, is going to be extremely valuable.
Nice.
Thank you.
Very nice. Okay, I'd like to open the public hearing at 7:56. And the crowd just runs right up. Okay, seeing none, I will close the hearing at 7:57. Just on the cusp.
Madam Chair, I move that the town council accept the donation of the Abbey Griffin Park entrance stairway project from the Rotary Club of Merrimack, valuing the amount of approximately $6,800 pursuant to RSA 31:95-E and Charter Article 8-15, and furthermore, that the town manager or somebody in town write a thank you note to Gleason and Stone, Innocent Stone of Merrimack, O'Keefe Landscaping, Rob Lavoie at All Outdoors Landscaping, and all the volunteers that'll be helping with the installation. I think it's important, again, to
Absolutely.
reiterate our thanks for their assistance.
Motion made by Bill Boyd, second by
Second.
Peter Albert. Any further discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None. 7-0-0. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Legislative updates from state reps. Seeing none. Town managers report.
Site plan development for the redevelopment of, site plan for the redevelopment of the Old Shaw's Plaza was conditionally approved by the planning board on May 16th. The proposed project consists of renovations to the existing 77,000 square foot building, including the facade improvements and signage upgrades, to accommodate 10 tenants and to construct 2 new pad sites within the existing parking area. a 4,000-square-foot building proposed to be a sit-down restaurant, and a 650-square-foot building that is proposed to be a fast food restaurant. The site would be modernized with new paving, landscaping, lighting, and drainage facilities. The Planning Board also continues to work on the developing zoning amendments for mixed-use development, likely with a new overlay district in portions of the DW Highway corridor. The board will also begin work in collaboration with the Nashua Regional Planning Commission on work associated with the development of a sidewalk and pedestrian plan for the DW corridor. Work on these items will continue in the coming months. Thank you.
Thank you, Eileen. I would like to request that Jackie and Finley are both on the committee for the building, the garage building. And I'd like to request that a little update be given to Jackie. I know you're prepared, so.
Yes.
Would you like to update us and the community?
Yes, I'd be glad to. We had we have a committee all in place now, and the members are Finley and I, Eileen, Paul, Operations Manager Lori Barrett, and Public Works Director Kyle Fox. And we've already begun to work. They have done really a yeoman's share. The existing condition survey of the property on Turkey Hill Road has been completed. The survey company is compiling the field data to create the existing conditions plan. The geotechnical engineers have taken 5 boring samples for analysis. The geotechnical report should be issued sometime next week. The architect engineer for the project, H.L. Turner of Concord, New Hampshire, and their representative was at the meeting Friday, and I believe that he'll continue to attend, developed a request for qualifications for solicitation of interested construction management firms. The RFQ, I request for
qualifications.
For qualifications, the F actually stands for 4, okay, qualifications, was sent this week to 10 firms. The RFQ is on the town's purchasing website page for other interested companies. The RFQ process schedule is, there is a mandatory briefing session for interested companies on June 15th at the Highway Garage. The construction manager's proposals are due to the town by June 29th. The building committee will review the proposals and develop a short list of firms to interview and have more developed project scopes, the more detailed picture, including the costs. The committee expects to be able to update the town council on July 20th as to the selected construction manager. So by July 20th, we should have, that's pretty fast work. I hope that they do that. H.L. Turner has begun the detailed design of the project and will incorporate the survey and geotechnical information into their work. They will continue to work on the design of the project throughout the construction manager search process.
Excellent. Does anyone have any
Yeah,
questions
wow,
of
it's
Jackie or Finley? No? Okay, what I'd like
Thank
to
God.
request. Oh, you, who?
I just was gonna,
Oh,
one
you,
thing.
You were there. You have a question?
No, comment. No. Although I probably do have
I'm
many
a wise
questions,
guy.
but
Go ahead.
The start date we were talking about, it's probably better to go out at the beginning of the year as opposed to starting sooner. There's a real cost advantage to doing that. So that's, our conversations have led to that actually being the case. So if you're wondering why it isn't started,
So it's a conscious decision
yes.
to be able to wait for monetary reasons. In the meantime, all these other things are being planned on anyway.
Yes.
And
Right.
done, the
And
old
done.
soils compositions and stuff.
What I'd like to request from the committee, the council, is to be able to put into, with it underneath the PUFOA update, a standing update on the garage so that every meeting we can just quickly, is there anything new? There's nothing new, there's nothing new.
Sure.
But it will
That's
be
appropriate.
update every meeting. Great. Okay, so we will do that. And I'll make sure Becky knows that in future agenda items, we'll have that item put there. Thank you.
One,
Nice guy.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
is it possible, as the project moves along, that, maybe not a timeline, but if there's a weekly update as to what's been done, and having that posted on the town website so people know exactly what's, and I don't mean to go for overkill, but just maybe it'd be nice to just provide some brief information to put on the website so that people know what the process is. I don't
I
mean
think
to,
that's appropriate.
okay.
You know, it can also, I know, I've been involved in a couple of larger buildings and schools, and they would have a section where they would take pictures of this is what was done in the last 2 weeks.
That's exactly,
You know,
great.
this
That'd be
is what's
dynamite.
coming next. We'll have pictures when they put the roof on and whatever it is. So yes, I think that's wonderful.
You know,
And
there-
you see that as excellent.
You know, there were nice pictures, bright and cheerful pictures of the culvert on Amherst Road that's
Yeah,
deteriorating.
that's scary.
But it's one picture is worth 1,000 words and all that.
Exactly. Perfect. Thank you, Bill. It's a good idea. Okay, consent agenda none, old business none, new business. Sauhegan River Local Advisory Committee and Lower Merrimack River Local Advisory Committee nominations. The Town Council to consider the nominations to reappoint Nelson Disco as a member on the Sauhegan River Local Advisory Committee, and reappoint George May as a member of that and also the Lower Merrimack River Local Advisory Committee.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Bill Boyd, seconded by Dan Dwyer. Is there any debate on this?
May I briefly speak?
Since Nelson is in the audience.
May I briefly speak, Madam Chair?
Absolutely.
I think we all, I'm sorry, I missed that. What did you say, Dwyer? What did you say? You're going to have to make me watch it on cable TV tomorrow morning? Is that what you're going to make me do? No courage, no guts, can't even repeat it. Yeah,
Go ahead.
fair enough. Oh, yeah, about me speaking briefly.
Go
It's
ahead,
very
Tom.
brief. Thank you to Nelson, and thank you to George for your continued service to the community, and having you and I sat in on that luncheon a couple of months ago at the NRPC kind of validated you and George's role and what you bring from the community of Merrimack to that committee. So really happy that they're volunteering to serve again. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Any other comments? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Unanimous, 700. See, I gave him a little grief for you, Bill.
I know. It's okay.
Okay, so I'm going to email, this has to be signed, so I'll be passing this around for the nomination. Okay, next, donation acceptance for Parks and Recreation Department, submitted by Parks and Recreational Director Matt Kasparius. Town Council to consider the acceptance and expenditure of a donation in the amount of $300 from the Merrimack Lions Club to the Merrimack Parks and Recreation Department for the Camp Scholarship Fund pursuant to RSA 31:95-B and Charter Article 8-15.
So moved.
Motion made by Bill Boyd, second by
Second.
Tom Koenig. Any discussion?
Special thanks to the Lions Club for donating to help out the children in our community. Greatly appreciated.
Excellent. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None. 700. Request for withdrawal from Infrastructure Capital Reserve Fund, Amherst Road Culvert Replacement. Don, you might as well head your way down here. Public Work requests that the Town Council authorize the withdrawal and expenditure from the Infrastructure Capital Reserve Fund for a failed cover on Amherst Road. And
It's
it's,
not the same as this one.
and this is going to be presented by Deputy Public Works Director, Town Engineer Don Tamala. Hi, Don.
Oh, she's got a computer.
Yeah.
Thank you. A little history while the computer is trying to come on. There we go. Back in April, Lori and Jeff called me out to go visit a site, culvert failing. So we went out, and the site you'll see is on Amherst Road. It's just off of Continental between the Executive Park Drive and Turkey Hill. We have a significant traffic flow, commuter traffic flow in and out of that area. I don't have traffic counts for right in that area, but just further up on Amherst Road, we have something like in the order of 5,000 cars a day. So I'm guessing when you put in the Turkey Hill Road, we're looking at 8 to 10. So it's a tough spot to be able to have a failure. Let me.
There's enough traffic there that we have a police officer assigned at the corner of Amherst and Turkey Hill every morning, every weekday morning. So.
Exactly. So in April, this is what I went out, and this is what I was greeted with.
And you went, oops.
Yes. One thing to note on this, you can see there's a small area up here at the top, and this was after a heavy rain, naturally, and there were two little rocks sitting here on the side. So I went out once a week after that, and Jeff has been very good. He's gone out almost every day to check on this for me. And we started the process of looking to see what we could do to fix it. So a few weeks later, we come out again, and you'll note these two little rocks that we were just talking about. One's still kind of up there, and the other one's way down here. And you'll note the upper area, it's now coming across the side of the slope, and it's actually, you can't quite see it from this picture, but it's encompassing the area where this culvert that comes out from the road, it's also taking that whole area down. This was...
Is that water coming out around the pipe?
Yes, that's the next thing I was pointing out, is right in here you'll see the water's coming out of the ground and coming down right beside the pipe instead of through it. Actually, there is some that's coming through it still.
Yes.
We can't find where the break is. It is further back, which means what was going to happen was this was going to keep coming down and coming down. This was just before the Memorial Day weekend, and we had a lot of rain, and that upper part got even a little bit worse. So after Memorial Day, I said, well, we've got to do something. And what we were doing before, what I suggested, was we have Natticook Lake and Greens Pond feeding into this culvert. So what we've been doing is blocking off during, when we know there's going to be a heavy storm, we hold the water back, and then we let it out slowly, so that this culvert can take some water, but it can't take the amount of water that was coming through, that was rushing through and making deposits of the silt and the fines, because it's taking the road underneath with it. So obviously we have to do something sooner. So what I had the company do, they actually were very good. They came in last week, the weekend. This was on Saturday, and they placed this riprap stone along the side to try to hold that back, because this top edge, you can't see it from here, but it's within 1.5 feet of that guardrail. Okay, so we're...
Yeah, you can see it.
Yeah, we need to do something. So in the meantime, I had a company do the preliminary survey work, because being one person, it's very hard for me to go up and down a 20-foot slope and getting shots. And I didn't have my interns at the time, so we did sub this part out. So I do have existing conditions out there, and what there is a 36-inch pipe going from one side of the road, going to the other side of the road, and it's 100 feet long. It goes underneath. It's only 36 inches. It's, for the amount of area that this is taking, it's a fairly small pipe. So what the proposal is, I've been working on, is to replace that 36-inch right in place with a 60-inch. So we're going from a 3-foot to a 5-foot diameter. We have 1,425 acres of land behind this pipe. So in order to figure out your flows and what you need, you have to know how much area is feeding into this. So 1,425 acres, it's a substantial drainage area that's coming to this pipe.
Yeah.
And we don't want to lose it because it's a major route. Oops, wrong way, sorry. All right, so the existing culvert, you'll saw it was down, there's a lot of topography there. We're 18 to 20 feet below the existing ground grade. Like I said, there's 1,425 acres, and I checked it 2 different ways to make sure. I thought that number is really large. But I did check it 2 different ways, and I came up within 10 acres. So I'm fairly comfortable with that. So it's Natticook Lake and Greens Pond are feeding into this culvert. So the existing culvert's, again, 36 inches, and it's 100 feet long, and it's a metal. So what's happened is the metal has corroded along the bottom, and that's what's caused the failure. So the outlet end is actually sitting upwards because the whole pipe is crushed at some point back. We want to replace it with a 60-inch concrete pipe or possibly a high-density plastic pipe. And it will take something with a little bit thicker wall because it is at such a depth. So the normal plastic pipe that we've been using will not sustain in this type of atmosphere. So we're going to put the little pipe in the same exact location to be able to minimize the disturbance to the overall area. The design engineering I will be doing here in-house, so we're not sending that out to anybody else. I've already spoken to the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services, and they will grant us an emergency permit and the work to be able to do the work, and then we will follow that with a formal application to them. Oops, go back. So no matter what we do, and I've got 2 different alternatives, we're going to have to close the road. And what we're...
Just the idea of it's good.
I know, it's scary.
Is it going to be like midnight to 5 a.m. or something? Just
no,
kidding.
No, the depth of it, it just won't work. So this is the area that our culvert is in, this red square down here. So people are either going to have to go up Turkey Hill or go back up Amherst and then go out Natticook, Meeting House, or down Babusick. What we're proposing to do is to do it the same as the Amherst Road culvert that was just up from Meeting House, where we had the road closed for only 10 days, 10 calendar days, not work days, so it's not even 2 weeks. After that, there would be an incentive if they could get the work done quicker, and if they go over it, it's a $2,000 a day penalty. So there'll be incentive to have them get it done quickly. Some of the work will be able to be done, before and not close the road. So I've looked at 2 different options. I mean, this is scary, and I don't like it. I don't like it. But we're going to try to do it, obviously, in the summer when there's less and no school buses going through, because that's a big school bus route. Oops. Okay. So what I'm here tonight for, I picked on 2 different alternatives. One was a pipe jacking, and that would just go underneath Amherst Road. We're looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of $500,000 to be able to do that, but it has a huge environmental impact because in addition to just jacking, you have to build jacking pits on both sides, 14 feet by 28 feet. They're substantial, and they're going to be concrete, and we're going to be in the middle of the brook, and that's not going to fly. Plus, we would have to shut down the road anyway because we have to have a crane sitting on the road to be able to put the pipes down to where they need to be. So we still have to close the road. We originally thought we were doing this so that we didn't have to close the road. But when I got into it a little bit further, we end up having to close the road. So we've chosen to go with the conventional pipe replacement, and we're looking at a total of $260,000. So we're going to require some additional funding because right now that Drainage Improvements Fund has $200,000 for next year allocated, and we need $260,000. So I'm here tonight to ask for the additional $60,000 so that we can get this project done, because it cannot wait.
Well, you made that pretty clear. Peter? And then Jackie,
Don?
and then Bill.
When do you propose to start work?
With everything that we have to do, we're probably looking at the end of July to the 1st of August.
Okay. Going to have a pretty significant media blitz for this.
Absolutely. Those little signs you were talking about, we had that discussion this afternoon. They will be out in full force along with everything on the website, and as much as we can get out there, absolutely.
Including us. Advertising from here. Jackie?
Yep, I assume that you mean by the money is in there for next year, meaning 17, 18.
Correct.
Yeah.
Bill?
Don, in your memo, under the subject, it says Amherst Road Culvert Emergency Replacement. Is this going to be temporary or permanent?
Permanent. As I told the state today, I only want to do this once. It doesn't matter what size pipe we put in, it's going to cost the same amount of money because of the depth that we have to go to be able to get to it.
So the concern that I had in looking at your pictures is once the pipe goes in, what's going to be done from an engineering perspective to stabilize Amherst Road so that the sides aren't falling down the road? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, that's erosion that I was looking at, correct?
It's coming from the bottom.
Okay.
It was coming from the bottom because the water is coming around the pipe and not through
Not through the pipe. So by channeling it through the pipe, it's going to eliminate the bottom erosion, I guess.
Right, and I'll be putting some head walls, and I haven't decided whether I want to put one head wall or two head walls, but the price you see actually includes two head walls. And I'm contemplating whether to extend the outlet end and be able to grade the slope a little bit gentler, because right now it's like at a 1.5 to 1, so it's fairly steep. It's hard to even walk up it. And the other side is not as steep. But the problem is, on the other side, there was no head wall at all, so the water could work its way
Right.
around the end of the pipe.
Once you do, is the road going to be stable once this work is done?
Yes.
I guess that's my concern, is that, if it's not done correctly, that parts of Amherst Road wears off, and then when Kyle Fox came to us a couple of years ago with building the bridge at Wire Road, I almost, for me, a thought to mind was, well, why a culvert? Why not just do it right and, I hate to say it, but build a bridge so that you don't have to deal with that sort of thing. But I mean, you folks are the experts, not me.
A bridge isn't warranted. If we had had the extra time that we had planned, because this was it is on the list to be done, we might have been thinking about a box culvert, but
Okay.
at this point, a round culvert can do the same work that the box would do. And a box is going to cost more money because it has to have a different base. And
Then I guess the last question I would ask is, once this project is completed, is there anything that the council needs to take into consideration for forthcoming budget season that you may need to do additional work to buttress, I guess is the word I would use, buttress the work that's being asked to be done? Or once you go in there, everything's going to be done, there's not going to be a need to do any additional support work?
that's correct.
Okay.
Because putting the pipe in the same location that it is right now,
Right,
we will take out the old pipe.
okay.
So we'll be able to fix the base and then compact it as we come all the way up
Okay.
properly. So we won't have that issue. If we had done the jacking, what would happen is we'd offset that pipe and jack across
Right.
in a different area. Then we would have to fill that existing pipe with concrete or slurry or something to be able to hold it, because exactly your concern. But in placing the culvert in the exact same location that it is right now, we will take out and eliminate the problem.
Perfect, okay. Madam Chair, thank you, appreciate it.
Pete?
John, when this work is all done, it's basically resurfacing the entire roadway and everything because you're dropping it down? You're opening the whole culvert up, correct?
Yes, they'll put the boxes in and dig all the way down.
Now, right now you have, I believe it's guardrail on both sides of the road. It's pretty narrow.
That's correct.
Is there going to be any widening of that at any point?
We don't need to if we close the road. We've been
No.
through a number of different scenarios.
Wrong question.
No,
We need to because of the people that walk across there and almost get hit by cars
Okay.
or
And-
drive their bikes across.
Yeah, exactly, and that's kind of where I'm going with this, Don. I know it's tight there for people walking. It's a pedestrian area, people walking up to the convenience store and all the other businesses up that way. Something to think about.
On the inlet side, there is a little bit more room on that side. It's a little bit flatter, so you can walk behind there, and then it drops off. So if we were to possibly move the guardrail over,
Which is what you're saying.
then maybe we could look at that. Let me
Yeah.
look at that while I'm
Good thought.
doing that.
Please look into that, but also when you get past that to the hotel, there's nowhere to walk until you get back in the street. So we need to be a little bit concerned about where they go when they get to the other side. So the outlet side may be the better side to have a little more space on, if possible.
Okay.
So just, I'm sure you can engineer it better than I can, but just keep that in mind, that if there's any way to add 2 or 3 feet to that, even if it costs a little more because you need another 20 feet of pipe or something like that, let's definitely keep that in mind.
Good idea.
Yeah, and just to go off of Tom, I mean, I think the traffic's only gonna get heavier, the foot traffic, the bicycle traffic, and obviously the car traffic. I think we're gonna have to deal with that issue, so we're working on it now, we might as well deal with it now, that's my thought.
Okay. That will definitely add cost to this project.
Yeah, it might be worth it, though, yeah. You're right.
For the record, there's a plan of 280 apartments in front of the new hotel
That's right.
by the old Merrimack Convention Center, so it's going to be more heavier pedestrian traffic than ever before.
Yes, Jackie?
I'm confused about what side of the street would be the side that already has a little bit of more leeway. Is it the cinema side?
No.
The hotel side?
The hotel side.
Okay. Because I'm thinking that it's always safer to walk facing the traffic, and I was wondering if there were any way to get both sides some leeway for foot traffic instead of just one side.
Take a look, see what you can do.
I've been crossing that road at least once a week. So-
What I would suggest to council, to amplify Council Foot's comment, is that if they widen one side, they could just reline it and restripe it so that there's.
They could move the whole
They could,
thing.
yeah, they could reline that section of the roadway so that either side is
Yeah, whatever
is
way they
balanced
do
for
it,
for
I
for
don't
pedestrians.
care.
So anyway, the bottom line is you need approval from us for more money,
Yes, please.
right?
And it's-
That's
and
the
it-
bottom line.
And it's from the Infrastructure Capital Reserve Fund, Paul, is that correct?
40.
60, I thought.
And where would,
Is it 40,000 or $60,000?
someone's not,
6-0. 6-0, and it's the Road Capital Infrastructure Fund. Road Capital Infrastructure.
So, Madam Chair, I move that the town council authorize withdrawing the expenditure from the Infrastructure Capital Reserve Fund for a failed culvert on Amos Road in the amount of $60,000.
motion made by Bill Boyd, second by?
Second.
Okay, Dan Dwyer. Any further discussions or questions, Tom?
I'm confused. You have $200,000 in the bank already, and you just need 60,000 more, or there's 200 in that capital reserve fund?
Eileen?
There's $200,000 that is already budgeted in the 17-18 budget, and they need it. So that's already been approved to come out of that.
For this
fund.
project?
For drainage in general.
Did we have a plan in how we were going to use that 200,000? And we're now scrapping that plan because we need to work on this?
Sort of. This was on the list. This was number 3.
Well, I understand. Oh,
This
okay.
was number 3 on the list.
And 1 and 2 are
One,
certainly not in
from
this
what I
dire shape.
understand, number 1 will be sitting there for quite a while because it's about $10 million worth.
Oh,
And
well,
it has to do with the Babusick Lake and the MS4. I didn't want to bring that up, but anyway.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
The second one is Wilson Hill Road, which will be in this year's, we have 100,000 in this year's budget.
Yeah.
So we will be doing
Which
the
ends
Wilson
June
Hill
30th.
Road with that.
Oh, okay.
Doing what?
All right.
That Wilson Hill Road, that's number 2, so this is number 3 on our list.
It- If I might, Paul, is there more than 60,000 in that account?
As of today, it's $436,000 in that account.
Don, if you had to make an off the back of the napkin guess, if we were going to widen the street by 3 feet or 4 feet over the top of that, can you just ballpark what that might add to this project?
Not at this point, I haven't looked at the design long enough, and I haven't got the length of the road. It'll
Well, I would
depend on the
invite you
length
then
of
to
the road.
come back. I mean, I was
Right.
going to amend our motion to go to 100,000 or something like that. But if you can't come up with any kind of a clue, then I would invite you to come back
Okay.
whenever you do have a clue.
Council Koenig, I would take that as a friendly amendment, because
Well, I don't know what
think it-
number to put in.
Well, if we tell her not to exceed $100,000, I think we've had tremendous success with DPW, managing their budgets and coming in well under budget, that they can, not even hit that 100,000, but give them the flexibility to do what they need to do.
Eileen?
I think $60,000 needs to be approved at this point, and then she can come back and if she needs more money.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
And I think what you're hearing from the council is that we are interested in having you look at widening to accommodate, and then coming back and letting us know how much you need for that.
And in that light, it might be two separate projects, because we need to get the culvert done.
It wouldn't necessarily be done at the same time.
We will see.
Okay.
I mean,
You'll let us know.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll see if we can get a contractor to be able to do the extra work. I mean, that's more time and, more work. And
Okay.
so, yes, I'll
I'd,
look at that.
I'd,
I mean,
I'd like to
you
see
can
it done
ask.
all at one fell swoop. I mean, we've identified
out.
that
We'll
scenario.
try,
Let's, as long as, as Councilor Albert alluded to, we've got a communication piece to get out to the people, but I think if people know that we're committed to not only fixing that, but widening the roadway for pedestrian, I think the community would be receptive to that, as opposed to two separate projects and, yeah, two separate closures, exactly, Tom.
Yeah, you can let us know what the possibilities are.
Absolutely.
I will.
Great.
I hadn't even thought about sidewalks, because I was concerned
Exactly.
about culverts
Right,
and water
right.
and
Just
keeping
because
the
we
road.
added that on doesn't mean a thing. Okay, any other, yes.
Well, I'm actually all set. I didn't know we were talking full-blown sidewalk. I thought we wanted space. But if it's a full-blown sidewalk, I'm
Well,
all
at
ears.
least
When you
space.
When you come back, I'm all ears.
At least space, yeah.
I know Nelson woke up when he heard the word sidewalk, so.
Yeah, look at him, he's all wide awake.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, any opposed? Seeing none. 700.
Dawn, thank you.
Thank you.
And good luck with this project.
Thank you, Don.
I'm having nightmares.
No, don't have nightmares.
It is what it is. What it is. Okay, minutes to approve of May 11, 2017.
Madam Chair, move the Thursday, May 11, 2017 Town Council meeting minutes as presented.
I second.
Motion made by Bill Boyd, seconded by Peter Albert. Any corrections or changes by anyone? So it's as written. Isn't that nice? Okay, all those in favor of the minutes as written, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None. 700. Comments from the press? None. Comments from the public? None. Comments from the council? Okay, Pete, and then Bill.
I noticed when I was going through the paperwork this week that dog licensing, the clerk is, we signed some paperwork, and just a little public service message, and maybe to lessen the load over at the PD and the animal control officer, but reminded everybody out there, if you haven't got it done, get in and get it done as soon as possible.
So the police don't have to go out.
Good advice.
And if your dog has passed, just call up and let the town clerk know, because they're on the assumption, obviously.
That's correct.
Bill?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to echo the moment of silence from before, I just wanted to offer my condolences to Mary Ann Stan Bonaslawski's wife and the rest of the Bonaslawski family. Stan and Mary Ann are actually very good friends of my wife and my in-laws. So they were at my wedding long before I actually got immersed in serving the community in Merrimack, and I learned a little bit from Stan in the waning days of being a newlywed and getting to talk to him a little bit about what was going on in town. So I feel very sad that we've lost a very good member of our community who was respected and, put in the due diligence to serve at the board level, to do the board work that we ask of our volunteers. So my condolences to the Bonislavskis. And also condolences to the Thomas family on State Rep Joe Thomas's passing. And Joe was larger than life, a great human being, and big smile, big laugh, and served our community also with character and integrity. So I want to extend my condolences to the Thomas family. Thank you.
Anyone else? Tom?
Just to give a brief report on the planning board that Eileen hasn't already. You heard about the Shaw's Plaza. That was a couple of meetings ago. Last meeting, Tuesday, we approved the student transportation STA plan to move their bus lot to the lot next to Vault Storage, the back of the Summit Realty building. They're going to take off that big garage that's in the back of that building and put a small maintenance facility on the back end of it, and then park the buses back off towards DW Highway. There's a lot of concern about that. There's certainly some residents that are very worried about it. I drive that strip at least 3 times a week in the morning, and so I know there's a lot of concern about traffic. The traffic studies, which were verified by our peer review consultants, suggested that the traffic impact during the peak hours is not that significant because the buses get out before the peak hour and come back right at the tail end of the peak hour. And then go out again in the afternoon and come back before the evening peak hour. So the Highway Committee talked about it, the Planning Board Committee talked about it, and we all looked at various parts of it to see if there was going to be any issues that we could deal with. The final decision was that there was no significant enough impact that we required widening the street or doing any of those kinds of things. And they're running 38 or 42 buses, all using clean diesel engines, most of which are brand new, some of which are going to get replaced in the next year or so. And they're going through all the DES and whatnot, environmental protections, because they will be refueling the buses there as well. So they're putting in a fueling tank and putting all the protections and security around it to keep it safe. Leaving a lot of the shrubbery and then putting in a lot of landscaping around that building, so the building will look a lot nicer than it does today. That was the main subject of this past planning board meeting. Just wanted to let you know that did get approved and is going to be moving forward.
Eileen?
I think I got my question answered. I was wondering if there was going to be, if this company, STA, had purchased that site or they were just leasing the back, and would they improve the building the front building in some manner?
I don't know what differences to the building they plan, but they are going to be occupying half of it as their offices. The other tenants are going to still remain, and they will continue to lease that out. But my understanding is they acquired that whole property. Yep. And they're hopefully working with the neighbors and able to come to solutions on how to improve things as far as buses going up and down that street.
Express the concern.
Right now, the residents look across a sea of concrete at a dilapidated barn. So almost anything is an improvement.
Finley, and then Bill?
If I might have 2 questions of you, Tom. One, I was just curious to the vote of the planning board, just because I know there was a lengthy conversation on it, and I didn't know what the planning board vote was. It's not something I could look it up later.
It was 5-0.
Okay.
There were
I was just
several
curious.
people missing.
Yeah.
Mike was an alternate. Mike Laughlin, your son-in-law.
Oh.
Is that Mike?
You remember him yourself?
Was voting as well as an alternate. Paul, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Paul.
Yeah.
I was just, the other curiosity was, is that near the well protection area, or is it just beyond it?
I don't know. It may be in the well protection district.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Bill?
Yeah, just a question to Tom. Was there any discussion regarding idling? Were there any restrictions regarding bus idling as a condition of site?
The buses have very strict restrictions on idling, and they presented the information to us. They can't idle for more than 5 minutes if the temperature is 20 and above, and they can't idle for more than 10 minutes if it's 0 to 20, or I don't know what numbers actually, but they have a list of, at these temperatures, they can idle for so long. And the manager of the site was there saying that she drives as well, and she makes sure that, for example, when they're at Bishop Field out at by the middle school, she makes darn sure they're not idling while they're sitting there waiting to go out again.
Okay.
They have to turn them off.
Okay. Okay, good deal. Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, it's 8:40, and I will accept the
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Bill Boyd, second by Peter
Yes.
Albert.
Wake up,
Yes,
Rip.
we did.
I don't remember.
You're testing me.
I'm not actually, I
Yes,
need.
we did.
I need-
Yes, we
Would you
did.
indulge me on changing a minute? A sentence in the minutes?
Hold that,
It was, because it was a
all of a
statement
sudden
from
you
me.
walk
I didn't see you get up and leave the chambers, Counselor Dwyer.
Page 9, 9 of 16, line 37. Counselor Dwyer stated his complete support of the board's focus on sidewalks. I remember I was applauding that they were narrowing the focus instead of saying they're all over town. So that sentence is a little misleading. But I
How
can't
would you
remember
like it
exactly the wording,
you
but I
like
think
it
if you
amended?
can remember the spirit of my conversation was accepting narrowing the focus.
What if you just said the board's narrower or narrowed focus?
Perfect.
Yeah.
the board's
Yes,
narrowed
thank you.
focus.
Because I agree that's why you were interested, is that they were no longer looking to try and put a sidewalk everywhere in town.
And actually, I'm glad you brought that to my attention, because I wasn't even there. So I should have abstained.
Oh,
So
Thank you.
let's, we can make, well, I'll still do it first. So I'll do 601. So the minutes will be approved, it will reflect the still Bill Boyd, seconded by Pete Albert, and it will be a 601. Nancy Harrington abstained because she was absent.
That is her last absence for the
Yeah,
year.
right.
For this fiscal year.
With the correction.
Perhaps. Okay, now we do have a motion, and we've already got the second, right? I didn't write it down.
Second.
Who made it? Let's just make sure. Bill, and I think Peter was the second.
Oh, you did.
Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. None opposed, 700. Thank you. Good night, everyone.